Hey guys, how are you doing? My name is Juan Gorales, and I just got out of my first screening of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and I just wanted to give you my first impressions of what I thought of the movie. Now, before we get into this video, I just wanted to tell you that this is going to be a spoiler-free review, so if you're looking for spoilers, click off of this video right now, because this is definitely a movie that needs to be seen on the big screen. So, let's get into it. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is the director, and he did an amazing job with the movie. I felt that he was given the creative freedom to do this movie, and you completely feel it through the fight choreography, through the cinematography, the whole shebang. It felt amazing. It felt like his work. And what made it feel like his work is that he was able to combine so many genres in this movie. First, you have the martial arts genre. Then you have the family drama, and then he combines fantasy on top of all of those. But what makes it feel so special is that it's in the MCU. This is still an MCU film, and that's what makes it so great. The next thing that I want to talk about is the choreography in the movie, and I have to say, this is some of the best I've ever seen in the MCU. Just the way that they fight, the fighting mechanics. It's just all shot and done so perfectly that, honestly, it's amazing. My favorite fight scene in the entire movie has to be the bus scene. And this is not a spoiler because it's been in the trailers. And the fight scene is just amazing. It made me feel like I was in a Jackie Chan movie. Just the way that Shang-Chi was using his jacket to outmaneuver his opponents, to block every single one of their shots. It literally felt like something that Jackie Chan would do all the time, and I really enjoyed that. Another movie that the choreography reminded me of was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and that had a lot of fantasy fights in that movie. It's in this movie as well, and it doesn't disappoint at all. Now I want to talk about the characters. Simu Liu as Shang-Chi I just think that it's great casting. He provided so much charisma in a role that could have been just dry and boring, but Simu Liu managed to take his character and make it his own. He could be comedic at certain moments, but he could also take those serious moments and just work with them, and I just found that really amazing. Then we have Awkwafina as Katie, and honestly, I think her character worked really well. I was kind of skeptical at first because the MCU has a habit of just casting people just to give them a comedic role in the movie, but honestly, yes, her role is comedic, but she's able to find her stride in the serious moments as well. She doesn't just crack a joke whenever she wants. She waits for the right moment to make a joke. When something serious is going on, she doesn't just break the tension, because usually in Marvel movies, that's one of their major criticisms, that sometimes they use humor to break tension. But in this movie, her character, she cracks a joke when the joke needs to be cracked. She gets serious when the moment needs to be serious. And that's something that I really appreciate her doing. And now we have to talk about the villain of the movie. And Tony Leung as the Mandarin is just perfection. What I really like about his character is that we understand his motivations and why he's doing what he's doing. And even though he's doing these wrong things for the right reasons, I still can't help but feel empathy and sadness towards his character. And that's all Tony Leung's performance. Just the way that Tony Leung looks at the camera, conveying all those emotions that he's feeling without even having to say a word. That's just great acting, in my opinion. Another thing that made me love this movie so much is the fact that this actually feels like a Phase 4 movie. One of my criticisms with Black Widow is that it didn't feel like a Phase 4 movie. Yes, it is part of Phase 4, but it felt more like a companion piece to Infinity War than anything else. With this movie, you actually feel like it's pushing the MCU story forward and not backwards, and I love the fact that the movie does that. Something else that I wanted to talk about is the score. And Joel P. West, I feel like he's delivered one of the best scores in the MCU so far. Just the fact that he was able to mix classic martial arts scores with a touch of modernism to the score just, it made the movie feel epic in scope, and I really appreciate him for that. Some of the negatives that I have with the movie is the humor and the CGI. The humor, it lands sometimes, but in some points it just feels like it was just forced. So like they just had a joke just because it needed to be there. Another one of my gripes has to be the CGI, and there was a lot of it in this movie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There was a lot of CGI in this movie, especially in the third act, because that's where things get really crazy. And I just felt a little too overwhelmed with it. But that's just me. I don't know if anybody else is gonna feel the same way as I do, but it just felt like too much CGI. Overall, this movie was amazing. The director, he did what he wanted to do. The cinematography was great. The characters were outstanding. And this movie, I think it's going to be on my top 10 tier of MCU movies, because it was just a great movie. And I think I'm going to be rewatching this movie a few more times. So my overall rating, I think I'm going to have to give it a 9 out of 10. This was really a great movie. And if you're able to go to a theater, go see this movie. I highly recommend you see this movie. And that's my review of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I really hope that you liked this review. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. And please subscribe down below as well, because it really helps out my channel a ton. Please let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought of Shang-Chi. If you liked it, hated it, if you're never going to see it again, please let me know in the comments below. And I'll catch you up on my next video.